One man in Ohio showing his support for the president in a very big way, painting his entire front lawn, 19,000 square feet, into a giant Trump 2020 banner.
Tell us, why did you paint your lawn a Trump sign?
I'm just in support of the president. I think he's going through a lot of troubles and turmoils right now, and a lot of people like myself out here supporting him. And we've been silent, but I think it's about time that we voice our support. So this is an attempt to do so. I support the president because of his support for the American people, his support for the troops and the veterans. I think that President Trump is one of the best presidents we've ever had.
Yeah.
We did have some signs out.
Jayar, thanks very much. We're out of time.
And, we had.
Although Jayar got cut off there, he's been cut off in a much more substantial way. Now, after we did that story yesterday, where Majewski was discovered to have been faking his military service in Afghanistan, when he was actually in Qatar loading airplanes. What has happened now is the National Republican Congressional Committee has cut him off. What exactly does that mean for politicians? It means the money is not there anymore. And in fact, this one really stings. Here's some details. The National Republican Congressional Committee booked $960,000, Francesca, in the Toledo, Ohio market to help boost Majewski. It cut that buy entirely on Thursday, and that's according to two sources familiar with the committee's media purchasing. Representative Marcy Kaptur, one of the longest serving women in the House, was redrawn into a district that President Donald Trump would have carried narrowly, making her one of the most vulnerable Democratic incumbents. Now, national Republicans, at the beginning, they were not initially enthused about his primary win. Now, Majewski did win over those other candidates because he's closely aligned with the MAGA wing of the party, and he gained fame for painting his lawn there, as you saw on Fox News, into a Trump shrine. But still, they booked TV time in that district, and they were set to begin airing these ads and really pump him up and make sure he's all good going into next week. Now, also House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, he traveled to the district to campaign with them over the summer. They went all in after they were a little worried about his candidacy because he's a little bit off the rails. But now that this whole thing has come out with the fake Afghanistan stories, I guess these are phishing stories in Afghanistan, they're like, we're done with this guy. We're finished with him. So damn near $1 million has been cut from him. And now they're like, we've finally fully given up on this guy. We're gonna get to more details of things about what didn't shake them from bailing on Majewski. But first, your thoughts, Francesca, what's going on with you?
I'm excited for that part because we all see that Q on his shoulder or on his lapel there.
100%.
But look, I think it's interesting that Republicans actually have a line. You wonder, why that, and it's interesting that line is veterans, even though they love throwing veterans healthcare under the bus and they love using vets as pawns, and yet doing nothing for the unhoused community, which is largely often made up of veterans, or any real moves on mental health, once again, disproportionately impacting veterans. So yeah, they love the war, they hate the warrior, and I think we on the left embrace the opposite, right? We support the people who go to war and their needs, but not necessarily the wars they're there to fight. So anyway, leaving that aside, this is important because obviously the House is in the balance, and a lot of folks are seeing that it's gonna be pretty easy for Republicans to retake. The Senate, not so much. Even Mitch McConnell's like, it's looking bad. Herschel's convincing nobody, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the House is shakier. So it's good that you've taken one out, but they still only need 5 seats to flip in order to overtake Democrats in the House. So I don't know, it feels like a drop in the bucket, but hell, anything is something.
Take anything, especially when it comes to who knows what's gonna happen next. I'm glad you talked about that maybe line in the sand that we're not sure if national Republicans are willing to cross. This one was it. Now again, he was using this service to make it seem like he's this badass. This is the way that they use what was going on as far as military service, instead of actually talking about what it is that they can use to then help people. It's about promoting themselves. So there was a couple of ads that were being run by the House Majority PAC to go after Majewski before we found out about his lies with his military service. Let's just go to one of those first and see some of the things that Republicans, after these types of things were out there. You mentioned that Q on his shirt. Outside of that, they still were okay with. There's other things Majewski was doing. Watch this ad.
I was police for 26 years, a Marine before that. Keeping Ohioans safe was always more than just a job. So the riots on January 6th made me want to puke. Jayar Majewski was at the Capitol in the middle of the mob as officers were beaten with fists, bats, and even the American flag, and said he would do it again. Those aren't Ohio values. Jayar Majewski should be in jail, not in Congress.
That's one of the things. January 6th involvement, and police officers want nothing to do with this guy who does not support the police. There's another ad. Let's watch that one.
The mob stormed the Capitol on January 6th, assaulting police officers blocking the way. And Jayar Majewski was among the first past their barricades. Scores of officers injured, with 5 dead. Yet Majewski brags he'd do it again. When police defended themselves, that
pissed me off.
He even promoted a conspiracy theory that police are to blame. Part of a violent mob, Jayar Majewski shouldn't be in Congress.
That's not all of it, Francesca. There's one more. I want you guys. The main reason I added this ad is because the end is probably one of my favorite ends to a political ad I've ever seen. It seems a bit comedic. Maybe that's what they were going for. But this one was from Marcy Kaptur, who actually, this was her ad, not from the NRCC. I mean, I'm not from the this House Majority PAC. This is from Kaptur. Let's watch this one.
Police officers risk their lives every day. I know, I've served 34 years. That's why I was so angry watching them attack our Capitol. Jayar Majewski broke through police barricades as our cops were under attack. Worse, Majewski blames the police.
Capitol Police, I think they were very irresponsible.
The police weren't irresponsible, Majewski was. Majewski does not support law enforcement. He should not be our congressman.
I'm Marcy Kaptur, and I approve this message.
Something's wrong with that guy.
Something's wrong with that. Something's wrong with that guy. I agree, officer.
I love it. It was totally like, let's just do a few, like improvised takes. Like what do you really think of him? I don't know. He's a bad dad. Something's wrong with that guy. He like whatever. Like he puts the toilet paper on backwards. Like there was like a lot of different versions of him just going off on that guy.
It was so good. No, I'm glad you said that, because there's sometimes people that work in any kind of production or film or TV and that stuff. When you see ads or you see television or movies, you see so many ways that these things came together. And I'm glad you peeled that layer off. That's exactly what that was. I think I'm speculating.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't scripted. It was just like, so what do you really think? And he's just like, what? And he's being very cop about it too. Something's wrong with that guy.
And they're like, let's put that on the end. That's the end. Yes.
I mean, we've addressed, right? Being Jayar yourself, obviously spelled different. You can't let this stand. So I mean, I definitely think the Jayar Jackson deep state did its job and took him down.
I'm just happy the NRCC watches the watch list and follows our lead. Hey, anytime you need some help, we got you.